So you are taking physics. I love physics. You might be wondering what physics actually is. Well, physics is the most basic science, which is good news. It's simple. Now, the best way that I can explain what I mean when I talk about how physics is the most basic science is by talking about cows. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Physics is the most basic science in this sense. If you have a pyramid, bio would be at the top, chemistry would be at the middle level, and physics would be at the very bottom because physics underlies both chemistry and biology. Let's talk about cows. There's a cow. And if you want to talk about the cow as a cow, you're in the realm of biology, which deals with living matter. And living matter is really complex. It's a very complex science, biology. And it deals with the cow as a cow, as a whole being. Whereas a chemist might just be interested in how a cow's digestion works, how the chemicals in the cow's stomach break down the food that the cows eat. That is much simpler, still complex, but you're dealing with something more simpler than the cow as a whole. But physicists are interested in something simpler yet, which is the very chemical reactions that are involved in the cow's digestion. And they might be interested in just a single chemical reaction, in the forces that interact when two atoms in the cow's stomach collide. There you have the collision of two atoms. And so we're inside of the cow, deep inside the cow, on the most basic level, the smallest level, and at that very small, tiny, basic level, the collision of just two atoms in the cow's stomach, you have physics. If I were to draw my pyramid again, at the bottom of the pyramid, you have the collisions, which are the basis of digestion, which allows the cow to live. So you see that physics is basic. The collision of atoms in the cow's stomach make digestion possible, which chemists study, which makes the cow possible, which biologists study. So in sum, physicists study basic things. Collisions, for example, which are fun. Forces that are involved in collisions. Energy, matter, heat, sound, light, space itself, the most fundamental, basic elements of the universe. They're not interested in the cow as a cow, that's biology. They're not even interested in the chemistry of the cow's digestion. They're just interested in the collisions that make the digestion, that make the cow possible. If I were to have another analogy, biologists, if they were studying houses, would study the house as a whole, whereas chemists would just study the wall and how the wall is put together. And physicists would be interested in the brick, the building block of the house. Physicists study the building blocks of the universe. So in sum, physics is the simplest science, which is good news. There is less to memorize. One of the reasons I liked physics when I was studying it myself was that I didn't have to memorize all of those facts that you have to memorize in chemistry and biology. Now, this may not be good news to you because there is more math involved in physics. I like math, so I liked that element of physics. You might not, but we're going to try and avoid that problem, that difficulty, as much as we can, so that you can get a sense of how weird the universe actually is, which is probably the coolest part of physics. You take a look at something that is everyday and normal to you, and suddenly you find that beneath that surface level of normality, the universe, even the everyday universe, is actually a very weird place. Here's a challenge for you. Why don't you take a penny and something that weighs quite a bit more than a penny and stand on a stool and drop them from the ceiling. But first, why don't you think to yourself, make a hypothesis. Which do you think should hit the ground first? The heavier object, right? Try it and find out.